Me first.
Me first.
Me first.
Me first.
The one change I would love to see in the world is everybody coming together and being as one. No matter the color or what is going on in their life, just everybody just loving one another.
I'd like to see everybody take care of one another.
I would like to see people give more with less condition.
Everybody treated equally.
Not judged for what they are on the outside, but for what they bring to the table.
Equal opportunity as far as jobs, as far as religion, as far as everything.
We could be more compassionate towards each other.
Right now we're divided in many ways, and I just think those walls of division and hostility need to just be torn down and replaced with unity.
Just learn to sit down and listen and understand each other.
Be comfortable being who you are, no matter where you are.
One thing I would like to see change in the world is people taking into consideration of other people and how they feel.
Right now, I think we are so far. Some of us over here, some of us over here, and we're just not meeting nowhere in the middle.
To be able to have people come together, to understand there are diverse cultures in life, that we think differently. We all have opinions, but in the grand scheme of things, being able to come together and live harmoniously, to enjoy life, to enjoy each other as we move forward through this life would be the one thing I'd like to see happen.
We'll never all agree on the same things, but we at least need to respect one another and our thoughts and try to come up with something that works for all.
Teaching my kids the right way, teaching them to help people.
Just being positive every single day, providing affirmation for people every single day.
Love everybody like you love yourself.
Showing up, showing out, always carrying a smile.
Every person that I meet, I smile. Just smile at them. Give them a reason to ask you what's going on in your life. What are you smiling about? You got time to listen? I got a story I'll tell you.
If I see you come through my drive-through line, and I know it's early, but if I see that you coming through and are you smiling? You're not smiling? I'm not giving you your food. I need a smile. You just smile. See, it works.
It's just simple things. You never know what someone's going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just all in how you treat people.
If you just provide a great customer service to every customer that comes in and make everybody feel important.
Give a smile. It don't hurt, it don't cost anything, and it makes somebody else have a better start for their day.
We have good examples, even working the drive-through window. We have some very sweet ladies that work in the cash booth. And I don't know how they do it, but they come into work every day so positive, so just full of energy and full of smiles, and and the customers love that.
We are our internal guests, and we have external guests that come to the drive-thru that come inside, but we have to make sure we service each other. And so I think that means creating a safe space for everybody, just to be okay, and some days to not be okay.
I think when we learn to respect one another as a whole, whether it's in our homes, at work, I think it'll bring in people to start breaking down those barriers and start treating each other kind and with love.
Respecting one another every day and just listen to how a person feel, it makes a big difference in here.
This is probably by far the best company I've ever worked with because they always put people first.
I like to think of my store and anyone that I work with as a work family. You see them probably more than you see the real family that you're connected with.
As we walk through life and we have a smile on our face, and then, it's who do you impact in your walk? And that walk is anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Pick somebody, anybody, say hey to every day.
We have a saying, no matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up.
Sometimes you have to just take a breath. Just take a deep breath. because it's not always as serious sometimes as people think it is, and you're in your feelings and they're in their feelings. But if you just take a second, take a breath, and listen.
A team can go a long ways rather than one single person. If I do something, it can make a difference. One person can make a difference. But if you have a whole bunch, look how much more you can get done.
Right here, right now, I am willing to commit on camera my ability to change someone's life for the better.
I commit to being the best version of myself that I can be.
Making the world a better place by being positive at work and outside of work.
I'm committed to being the best that I could ever be and making sure my son does the right thing.
Making sure that I'm the best spiritual leader I can be for my family.
Being a better person, more of a team player, more family member.
I am committing to always trying to find the good in everything.
Teaching people more about themselves that they probably don't know, helping them see things in them that they probably didn't see themselves, something like potential that I see in them.
Serving one guest at a time with good customer service.
I personally commit to creating a safe space for my crew, and that starts with me.
Me first.
Me first.
Me first. Me first.
Me first.
Me first.
Me first.
And we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up. In spite of the ache, we'll rise up. And we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Me first. Emily Dickinson once said that hope is the thing with feathers. But I am here, me first, standing on a hope that cannot fly away like feathers, standing under a wide umbrella that covers all of us in understanding and unity. I am a cathedral of light, opening every heart, me first. I am all the difference because you matter. I am all the generosity because you matter. I am all the gratitude because you matter. I am all the respect because you matter. I am all the passion because you matter. I am all the difference because you matter. I am accountable because you matter. I am authentic because you matter. Like petals on a rose, we are only the beauty because of the core, the stem that holds us all together. I am the stem, me first. Like raindrops splattering because a single cloud decides to burst. I am the cloud, me first. Like wave upon crashing wave inside the ocean. They all return to a single source, me first. It is always me first, opening the door to kindness, feeding the hunger of a stranger, seeking forgiveness inside a story of difference, holding men and women that need holding, raising arms that need lifting, singing prayers that need to be heard. It is always me first, committed trusted, devoted, valued, responsible. It is always me first, stable, consistent, a force of kindness, affirming fairness across all boundaries, peaceful. I am the heartfelt language of patience. I am me first, unifying. I am me first, teaching. I am me first, reaching across dark skies. I am me first, opening the curtains to each new day full of light. Me first, celebrating the blend of the old and the new. Me first, celebrating our collective strengths, joys, dreams, possibilities. Me first, celebrating our compassionate listening to each other. Me first, celebrating all that we reshape, remake, repurpose, rename as goodness. Me first, celebrating blessed assurances and amazing graces. Me first, preparing a harvest for all souls. Me first, becoming the torchbearer for generations to come. Me first in leadership, stewardship, protectors for our earth and our humanity. Me first, dressed up as a peaceful warrior. Me first, always ready to hold the center steady. Me first, stretching our voices higher and our hearts wider. Me first, becoming the medicine that our world needs. Me first, offering better promises for better realities. Me first, sifting love into bread. Me first, skipping, dancing, flying. Me first, creating a tender and more just world for our children. Me first, stitching a blanket for a nameless, motherless child. Me first, illuminating the wildest dreams of our ancestors. I am a universe of beloved Southern biscuits, resilience, and magical stardust. Me first, guiding us to give all we are in the least we ever do.
Good morning. I'm Patty Niven, your president, and I want to welcome you to our first virtual end-of-year event for FY20. What a blessing it is to have Jackie Shelton Green kick off this event for us today. I've heard that poem a few times, and it's impossible for me to hear it without getting emotional. It's such a beautiful story told by such a powerful, beautiful woman. And I want to start off today by telling you a little bit about Jackie. Biscuitville's relationship with Jackie began in 2008 when we honored her incredible accomplishments on our annual Black History Month bookmark. But in addition to being on the bookmark, Jackie agreed to present her poetry at our Martin Luther King Boulevard restaurant. And we invited the community, and that event represented change not only in ourselves, but in our communities. When we asked Jackie if she would be a part of our celebration today, not only did Jackie accept that offer, but agreed to write the poem that she just read. We had no idea that that poem would kick off an event that was really based on her poem. The poem also kicks off our journey together with a new year full of hope and connectedness, and to share her art as a reflection of the theme, Be the Change. But more importantly, her work and our new poem underscores our challenge to have the courage to take accountability and personally commit to our own first step in being the change. Jackie Shelton Green is an American poet and has published 8 books of poetry. In 2003, the North Carolina Award for Literature was bestowed on Jackie for outstanding performance and achievement in literature. In November 2009, she was named the first Piedmont laureate. In 2014, she was inducted into the North Carolina Literary Hall of Fame. In 2019, Jackie was recognized and appointed to be the 9th North Carolina Poet Laureate and is North Carolina's first African American to receive this recognition. And last year, the Academy of American Poets named Jackie as one of their first ever laureate fellows. She is also the founder of Sister Right, which is an organization committed to bringing women together and spaces together for writing, community, sisterhood, and shared experience. And she's local. Jackie's from Mebane, North Carolina, and teaches documentary poetry at Duke University. I can't think of a more fitting way for us to honor one another than to recognize those like Jackie who show us the way and blaze the trails that change and inspire us and help us become the change we want to see in the world. Jackie, thank you, and we are so honored and inspired to have had you be part of this experience with us today. With that incredible kickoff, let's celebrate. We are hosting this event from the International Civil Rights Museum in downtown Greensboro. As most of you probably know, this museum was formerly a Woolworth and became an iconic site committed to representing the nonviolent protest against civil rights movements. The Greensboro Four, who I grew up hearing about, had the courage to stand up for civil rights. They were 4 young black men who staged the legendary sit-in in Greensboro. Azil Blair, now Jabril Kazan, David Richmond, Franklin McCain, and Joseph McNeil, who is now retired Major General in the Air Force. All 4 were freshmen at A&T, at the time college, and they were almost all local. How could they have known that all of these years later, they would inspire us to continue carrying their torch? They had one simple plan: to be the change, to create awareness of injustice. They certainly didn't do it for the glory, the fame, or the recognition. They weren't even sure they were going to make it out of this building alive. We chose this site because it too is a shining symbol of those who blazed trails before us, fighting for so much of what we now take for granted and for how much more there is left to do for inclusion and accessibility of every kind. But it also represents the truth that if 4 young freshmen, college students, can change the world, why can't we? Today is about celebrating and recognizing the incredible accomplishments of the leaders who are also blazing trails and making a difference in the lives of our people each and every day. And while as a business we use metrics that reflect restaurant excellence, we also have to hold ourselves accountable for how we operate our restaurants and how we treat one another. My me first is this: my #1 priority in FY21 is to listen, to spend quality time with people throughout our entire organization, to find out what our teams want and our people need from us. Not what an article in a newspaper says it should be, not what public pressure says it's supposed to be. I want us to define authentically, not only what diversity, equity, inclusion are for all of us, but also accessibility. Are we providing the same access for each and every one of our guests and employees? It's my goal to seek first to understand, and I look forward to seeing all of you throughout that process. Our culture begins with me, and I'm accountable for ensuring our values are a priority and that they are upheld by all of us. In February, I'm kicking off the first meeting of our newly formed President's Advisory Council. This team of restaurant representatives will serve 2-year terms and will meet with me 1 day each quarter to discuss and advise on key initiatives. We will kick off our first council meeting in February with this conversation is our first priority. And before I hand it over to Bernie, I'd like to kick off with recognition, which is what today is all about. I want to recognize those whom I believe often go unrecognized, but provide incredible leaderships in our restaurant. They aren't necessarily at the top of lists like sales volume, but they are consistent, committed, passionate leaders for who I am grateful. But most importantly, their people follow and admire them and perceive them as outstanding leaders who treat them with respect and create a space for them to thrive. And their results show. So please join me in recognizing Travis Farmer, Verbena Adarain, Tracy Meadows, Courtney Kuntzman, Robert Michael, Amy Cook, Linda Evans, Christina Covington, Tremaine Moore, Pearl Greenway, Jessica Scott, Linda Valancourt, Vivian Jackson, Kayla Perry, Keith Stevens, and Charles Derricks. Thank you all so much for your leadership and for so much of what I know goes unseen each and every day. Now I'd like to hand the mic over to our CEO and our second generation owner, Bernie Jennings.
Good morning, and thank you, Kathy. What a great way for us to kick off our program today. I'm inspired by the Biscuitville I see today and provide all my support as we celebrate the accomplishments of last year. I'm also full of optimism and hope for Biscuitville's future. As we kick off the end of year celebration, I want to reflect on the resilience, courage, collaboration, strength, and commitment each of you have displayed as we navigated the COVID-19 economic uncertainty, civil unrest, homeschooling, and many forms of isolation, all while continuing to serve our communities. I'm also grateful for your dedication to our purpose, mission, and values. My father, Maurice, founded Biscuitville over 50 years ago. Most of you know he passed in September, and I truly appreciate all the heartfelt condolences many of you shared. He was so proud to see Biscuitville thrive and would be equally proud today as he left a lasting legacy for all of us to carry on. My dad cared deeply about people. He was strong, sometimes stubborn, resilient, a tireless hard worker, and committed to success. Above that, he believed in the golden rule, treating others as you want to be treated. He would be proud of our continuing commitment of putting people before profit and building a brand that makes a difference. As the calendar year closes and pushes us fully into 2021, I believe we're going into a new year knowing that as a team, as a community, we are stronger and more resilient than ever. Our sense of purpose and our commitment to providing the best possible experience for both you and our guests has never been more important. And while we spend some time today celebrating many of you, the reality is everyone who works for Biscuitville is worthy of great celebration. So today, you'll see we've chosen to spend time celebrating the commitment to being the change and the commitment to me first as we hold ourselves accountable for continuing to build a culture that sets the example for others. Thank you. And with that, I'll hand it over to Alon Vanterpool, who is not only our marketing manager, but the one who has worked tirelessly organizing this fantastic event. Alon?
Thank you, Bernie. I'd like to echo the sentiment of Kathy by saying that we are truly blessed to have Jackie Shelton Green here with us today. She serves as a beacon of light for a hopeful future ahead. And also the words of Kathy and Bernie that reiterate the bright outlook that we have for ourselves and for Biscuitville. You see, true change happens within ourselves and then permeates to others. There are so many magnificent exhibits here at the International Civil Rights Museum, but one in particular in which I'm standing in front of is an exhibit entitled, "I'll Make Me a World." It is quite fitting considering our late founder's heart towards entrepreneurship. You see, this exhibit embodies entrepreneurs within the African American community who were daring and brave enough to pave new paths when access and basic civil rights to many accommodations and services were denied. In response, the African American community shaped a world. They shaped a world for themselves where access was no longer denied or made to feel invalid. Places like the famous Apollo Theater in Harlem, New York, where African Americans were allowed to walk through the front door and have a seat in the front row. Or the American Federal Savings and Loan Association, which started right here in Greensboro, North Carolina. You see, it's this energy and resilience that brings about true change in the world. We are so very excited to inform you that as a part of your end-of-year gift, we are going to be providing you with a custom handcrafted pottery that was developed by a local artisan by the name of Matt Halliburton here in Rutherford College, North Carolina. At the bottom of the bowl will be stamped with the words, "Be the change." We are also excited to provide you with a personalized autographed copy of Jackie's poem, "Me First," which she read right here this morning. It is with these gifts that we hope that you remember something that is said here today and that you capture the significance of this moment. And now we'd like to take a moment or two to recognize and celebrate all of the many accomplishments that those of you in the field are making an outstanding difference each and every day. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our VP of Operations, Jeff Linville. Take it away, Jeff.
Good morning. Aku, special note, we miss you today. So today I want to talk about the 3 best days you ever have in a restaurant. And if you're a restaurateur, you'll understand this inside and out. So the first best day that we ever have is that perfect shift. It's the one where your drive-thru is just flowing. Everybody showed up today. You got a great team. Food's coming off that back line. Everybody's wrapping and moving that food down the line. Drinks are perfect. Everything's out the window. Everybody's in a great mood, and you're having fun as an operator or as an assistant or a shift leader. You know what I mean about running the perfect shift. It's always a great day in the restaurant business, and it just makes you feel unbelievable. I've had that experience a couple times already in my kind of young time here at Biscuitville. I had an experience as a guest up at Jay Shelton's restaurant, and I'll never forget the gal trying to sell me a strawberry lemonade, and she was very successful, but it was perfect from start to finish. Also, and Eric doesn't know this, but I did a mystery shop at his restaurant at Bessemer, and it was incredible. From start to finish, it was clean, everybody was so hospitable, it was fast, the product and my coffee were absolutely spot on, and it was great. It was a perfect experience as a guest. I've also had a perfect experience working in restaurants. I trained with Philomena down in the Tallywood area, and we had a Friday that I won't forget, and it was one of those days where everybody was there, and the shift just flowed perfectly. And since Philomena was training me, she got to move throughout the restaurant. She wasn't locked in, and it was perfect. And then last, certainly, was Kwani down in her restaurant at Hope Mills. We had a couple of days during opening that the traffic was just flowing, and the kitchen was beautiful, and service was awesome. And it was a perfect day in the restaurant business. Now, I want to really focus on number 2 and number 3, because number 2 and number 3 are what I'm going to talk about. And that's either being promoted and what that feels like in the restaurant business to be promoted, whether you're a shift leader, an assistant, an operator, an AC, or a regional, or you had a hand in promoting somebody and developing them. Those are number 2 and number 3 of the best days that you can have in our business. It's really a phenomenal achievement this year, especially when murder hornets and record-setting hurricanes in our entire West are on fire, and that's not even the leading story this year. Crazy. This year, 33 folks were promoted in Biscuitville, 17 from shift manager to assistant. We had 12 from assistant manager to operator, 2 operators promoted to area coach, and 2 area coaches promoted to regional coach. In a year like this, that's phenomenal. So whether you were promoted this year and you're on that list, or whether you had a hand in helping somebody get promoted, congratulations and well done. And we know that many of us watching this video, many of us started as team members, whether that was in Biscuitville or maybe in another restaurant. Myself, I started as a dishwasher in a Pizza Inn in Morgantown, West Virginia. Quite sure it's not there anymore. But you look at some of those team members, and we all know who they are, that show up a little bit early for their shifts, work a little bit extra. Anytime you're running short that day, you call them and they come in. They're the ones that help out a team member without even being asked. They just rush over. Those are the folks that got promoted this year. Those are the folks that gave extra. So now once you're promoted and you know what that feels like, then you enter a whole other world. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and we all do. And I'm sure that quite a few of you did as well. And we're going to stumble through that learning, and we all do. But we're going to keep giving the extra, and these folks keep giving that extra. They keep doing the things that got them there. They're doing the extra all the time. They're helping teammates all the time. They're coming in a little bit early and staying a little bit late if they need to. They always give you that extra. So today, I want to congratulate all 33 who were promoted in 2020 and look forward to seeing what you can do in 2021. So well done, keep it up, and I'd like to turn this back over to Alon and to Mary Beth.
Thank you, Jeff. And now we're going to give away some prizes. So right now we have a bowl here with all of the operators' names, and we're going to select a name out of the bowl. We'll call out your name and we'll announce what you're going to be winning. And then sometime within the next week, Mary Beth will be following up with you to arrange to get you your prize. So let's begin. First winner is Tommy Fatimi. Ashley, tell them what they've won.
Hey y'all, I've got prize number 1 here. We're about to get it unwrapped. Like Christmas. I'm so excited. What could it be? I am so excited to see what's in here. All right, here we go. Prize number 1. I'm coming for you. Oh, I love this stuff. Woo! Got an iPad mini. Congrats to the lucky winner of the iPad mini.
All right, next winner. Tremaine Moore. Ashley, tell them what they won.
All right, y'all, how's my hat? Just kidding, it's time for prize number 2. Here we go. All right, what could it be? We will soon find out. I am so excited to see what's in here. Hey, what could it be? Prize number 2. We've got an Apple Watch. Congratulations to the lucky winner of prize number 2, the Apple Watch. Pretty snazzy.
All right, and the last winner in this segment is Morgan Castleberry. Ashley, let her know what she's got.
All right, y'all, we've got prize number 3 here. I mean, Christmas part 3. This is Christmas in October. I love it. Biscuitville, you just really know what to do. I am so excited to see what's in here. All right, here we go. Prize number 3. What could it be? Number 3, what did it be? Woo! All right, here we go. Oh, it's a Chromebook. I mean, a Chromebook.
All right. So congratulations to those 3 winners. We'll be coming back shortly. And right now, I'd like to introduce to you Chris Mendoza, our region coach.
Thanks, Alon. 2020 has been a year of tremendous change, not just for Biscuitville, but for everyone worldwide. Through COVID-19, the equal rights movements nationwide, the stock market crash, All these events have impacted everyone's life in some way, shape, or form. Today, I celebrate 8 individuals who not only embrace change, but enhance lives by serving others. She's extremely talented, continues to push forward her commitment to her family after 41 years of marriage, raising 4 kids, Ryan, Jessica, Nicole, and Sarah, 2 of whom are operators for us now. Her supervisor calls her charismatic, loyal, hardworking, and above all, determined to make an impact in her community and team, Miss Vivian Jackson. Next, Jay Shelton has mastered the art of connecting her team and helping them achieve breakthrough results year after year for the past 11 years since she's been with the brand. Her team loves her. Her area coach, Teresa Atkins, has stated that she is a dedicated mom to her 3 children whom enjoys outdoors activities. Jay's continued efforts to make a change and impact everyone around her is not only appreciated, but acknowledged by all of her peers and her area coach. Philomena Steri has been a rocket since she took over a brand new restaurant in Fayetteville at the beginning of the year. She is new to North Carolina, but that has not limited her to exploring new possibilities in and around her community. Her desire for continued growth, excellence, and attention to detail can be seen on a daily basis in her restaurant through her trainees, whom consistently brag that she is very thorough and really enjoys going in details every step of the way through her training experience. Her peers and supervisor have stated that she is a healthy food nut and never eats any junk food. Philomena is always looking for ways to make an impact in their lives. Maria Cabrera runs one of the most successful restaurants I've been inside of. She is constantly helping the brand look for new, innovative ways to move the brand forward by testing out new products, practices, and equipment. Never complains, but embraces change. As you walk into her restaurant, you're received by smiling faces, which is a direct reflection of her leadership and commitment to excellence. She continues to drive forward the brand by supporting her employees to better themselves no matter where they're at. I've personally had the opportunity to work alongside Jose Perez. I can tell you that his energy level is great. Sense of humor is contagious. Jose is not only very consistent in his performance, making him a constant top operator, but really loves being a dad. His fatherly instincts kick in when he's at work and truly cherishes every moment he spends impacting his employees' lives. He truly embraces his team as if it was his own kids, truly wants the best for them. He embraces our values of passion, integrity, gratitude and respect, and many more. He always makes a long-lasting impact on his team, trainees, and peers. Verbena Dinarain is also nothing but smiles. When you speak to Verbena, her good character is not only contagious, but brightens up the day. She has pushed her team to be nothing but excellence by providing the best experience in her community. Her leadership has led Verbena to do great things and, amongst all, influence her employees. I admire that she is committed to the brand, but most importantly to herself and to her family. When I first met Courtney Kuntzman, I couldn't believe that she had so much energy. I tried my best to mimic her energy, but unfortunately, I fell a little short. I would rank her positive nature among some of the best I've seen. Hearing her story through Mr. Coach, Scotty Hall, she started as a shift leader, quickly graduated into an assistant manager, and then an operator. She's been with the brand for 5 years. What I appreciate the most about Courtney is her commitment to driving excellence. Finally, he deserves nothing but accolades, Mr. Greg Kearns. He truly inspires to go above and beyond on a daily basis. His impact is unrivaled and has turned his restaurant into the highest volume restaurant company-wide. He's quiet, but always thinking ahead to the next chapter. I've never seen anyone with such passion for excellence, bending over backwards to help accommodate his team. While he was a teenager, he won the state driving championship at his high school, which is why I say he just runs that drive-thru like no one else. I commend Greg for a job well done, but also for the people he influences to be a better person at a professional and personal level. Everyone that I've mentioned today has something in common. They're not afraid of change. They're not afraid to say that something needs to be different. To the operators, to the LT team, to the Jennings family, I say thank you, but above all, be the change. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Alon and Mary Beth.
All right, let's see who won prize number 4. Kayla Perry. Ashley, what'd she win? All right, we've got prize number 4. What could it be? Now, this is the fun part. All right, I can't wait to see what is in store in number 4. excited to see what's in here. All right, prize number 4. Let's see what we've got here. Woo! All right, lucky winner. It's what you've always wanted, a Weber grill. Assembly and delivery included. Grilling and chilling is up to you.
All right, moving right along to prize number 5. Bruce Conairs. Congratulations.
All right, the hat is back for prize number 5. This is just my favorite part. I am so excited to see what's in here. Prize number 5, we're coming for you. What could you be? Oh, more of this. All right, we've got a 50-inch smart TV. And I happen to know for a fact this is the smartest TV in the world. Just kidding, I don't really know, but it is super
Congratulations
smart.
to those 2 winners. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Jeff Linville.
Me first. So what does that really mean to you and me? It's not a theme for a meeting. It's not a cute saying that someone came up with or a goal that we have. It is a purposeful statement of change. Me first. If you believe in the theory of 6 degrees of separation, it simply states that if you take everybody that you know, maybe 50 to 100 people in your life, and then you go out 1 degree and you touch the 50 or 100 that each one of them know, and you do that 6 times, the theory says you've touched everybody in the world with 6 degrees. So changing the world and changing the world around you always starts with yourself and with one person. And it's been proven time and time again. Martin Luther King, one person. Mahatma Gandhi, one person. Albert Einstein, Rosa Parks, Charles Darwin, Marie Curie. One person changed themselves and changed the world. Change doesn't recognize faith. It doesn't recognize your color or your citizenship. It doesn't recognize what side of a wall you may stand on, nor does it recognize your gender. It only recognizes the depth of the belief and the courage that you have. So for real and lasting change to occur, it's got to start with you and with me. And then we can begin to affect change all around us. And not just social or cultural change, but real change within us. So I want you to think about the way that you wake up every single day. Your alarm goes off, and if you're like me, in all honesty, you're going to hit snooze every morning. Once if it's a good morning, twice if you're a little tired. But maybe some of you don't, and you just jump out of bed. And then everybody, all of us, you go through your morning routine. Now that routine might be a little bit different, but we all have a routine that we go through. But sooner or later, we will all end up in exactly the same place. And that is getting out of our cars, whether you're walking into your restaurant or you're walking into the RSC. Before you get out of your car, you make a decision. It is a me first moment. You're going to make a decision. Is this just going to be another day of me in a restaurant, and I'm just going to walk in and do my thing, and I'm going to go home? Or hopefully, our me first, starting tomorrow, is I'm going to bring passion into what I do. I'm going to bring accountability. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be gracious today. I'm going to have a little bit of fun today. And I will be accountable for what I do today. That is a me first moment that all of us share. So my first is a decision. There's an old Greek legend of a girl who had the power to do anything in the world that she wanted to do. All she had to do was ask the clouds and the stars for the power, and that power would be granted to her. So one day, she sat down in front of an empty canvas and decided, I'll try to paint a little bit today. She always wanted to be a painter, but she wasn't particularly good at it. And as she sat down to paint, she stumbled with the different textures. The color patterns were wrong, her strokes were uneven, and she became extremely irritated with her talents and how she was painting the canvas. So she looked up, she told the clouds and the stars that she wanted her superpower, her me first, as we say, to be a great painter. So she cleared the canvas and began to paint. And each stroke was a masterpiece. And when she was done, she had created perfection. The clouds and the stars were marveled at this creation. She was an artist, and the best artist, the one that she had always dreamed to be. And as they watched her paint, she began to produce classic after classic. But she became very anxious and very irritated after time. And after her 10th painting, or her 10th masterpiece, she threw it to the ground, tore it to pieces, and she began to cry. The clouds and the stars asked her what was wrong. They had granted her superpower. She stood up and said, the painting was a waste of time and maybe a waste of this talent, and that maybe she should do other things for other reasons. Maybe she should be a doctor and save people, or a surgeon, or maybe she should be a teacher of young and old. Maybe a philosopher was the way that she was going to change the world. So she stopped painting altogether and began to walk. So she said, think about all the different change that she could be in the world and what she could really do. She was very confused and conflicted about where she was. And she began to walk and walk and walk. And 25 years went by. She became enamored with the thought of all of the things that she could pick from. She thought about all the wrongs in the world that she could right, all the places that she could go, the great cities that she could build, and the things that she could design. And she kept walking and thinking and walking and thinking. And another 25 years went by. And finally, at the age of 68, she stopped. And she realized that she had wasted her life on planning and dreaming. She had to make a decision about what she wanted to do. And she realized that maybe making that decision was the superpower that she needed. So she looked at the clouds and the stars, and they granted her her wish of being a great painter. And she lived the rest of her life, according to the legend, in solitude, doing nothing but making masterpieces for herself. So Me First is not only about creating change within ourselves, but it's about making the decision to actively change. All of us, it doesn't matter if you're in a restaurant, at the RC, what department, or what restaurant, we have all chosen, whether you realize it or not, to spend our lives serving others. Some of us serve guests, team members, assistant managers, operators, ACs, guests. Some of us serve those who serve our guests. But it's what we do and our decision and our me first and our superpower at the beginning and our choice was to serve others. And I think if you really think about it, that's a great way to spend a lifetime. And just like the girl in the story, we all made a decision to serve. So today, my me first is simple. It's to make sure that this year I'm serving you. not just good, but to be able to go through every wall, every barrier, and every roadblock to serve you. More fully, to work every day to try to enhance your life and to make it easier for you to serve your purpose of serving others. That's going to be my superpower. So now it's your turn to decide, what is your me first? What's your superpower going to be in 2021? That's going to be my superpower. I'm going to serve you. Biscuitville has a very long and exciting future ahead of it, even beyond growth, when you think about the things that we can create together. And I could not be more excited to be here spending this journey with you. So let's dedicate ourselves to doing things the Biscuitville way in 2021. And let's all take today and say good riddance and goodbye to 2020, because 2021, here we come. I thank you for your time. I look forward to the year, and I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Alon and Mary Beth.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, this is our final round of prizes. So let's see. Lacey Spager-Garin. Let's see what she's won.
All right, y'all, the prizes might be dwindling, but they're still awesome. We've got prize number 6 here. We're getting ready to dive into. I am so excited to see what's in here. Prize number 6. What could you be? We've got this beautiful glossy photograph of a Roomba. Just kidding, it's a real Roomba, but seriously, I need to borrow this. Just for a few minutes to clean up this mess.
All right, next winner. Anelia Jolly. Alicia, let her know what she's won.
I'm back with prize number 7. Y'all, we got some awesome prizes. Congrats to all of our lucky winners. I am so excited to see what's in here. Okay, prize number 7. More crinkle. This is a good one. A $300 Amazon gift card. Y'all, I don't know anything y'all can't find on Amazon. If it's not on Amazon, you don't need it. Unless it's a Biscuitville biscuit.
And the final winner for today is Tracy Meadows. Ashley, let her know what she's won.
Last but not least, we've got prize numero 8. I am so excited to see what's in here. All right, prize number 8. Here we go. I found my keys. All right, we've got a $200 Visa gift card. Congratulations to our lucky winner. Whew, what a mess. But congratulations to all of our lucky winners. Prizes are coming your way soon. Whew. All right, who's going to help me clean up this mess? Kathy!
All right, congratulations to all of our wonderful winners. And at this time, I'd like to introduce you to Christy Mitchell, who is our VP of Brand and Marketing.
Good morning. When we began developing ideas for our end-of-year celebration, we asked ourselves, what does our Biscuitville family need to hear right now? With the emotional effects of COVID, along with the overwhelming feeling of division in our communities, we decided the message was overcoming. From that moment, we began the search to find the person who could deliver this message to us authentically through life's events. We spent much time listening to potential speakers, but they left us with a longing we hadn't found the right one yet. We were then introduced to Richard Phillips. As I dove into his story, it became evident he had a story no one else could share. Mr. Phillips was wrongly imprisoned in 1972, spending 46 years of his life behind bars for a crime he never committed. While in prison, Mr. Phillips became a self-taught artist, using art to break up the long days. In addition to his artistry, he emerged with forgiveness and became a voice of inspiration, a voice of what living out what overcoming truly looks like. I heard him quote, "It's not the number of storms you have in life, it's whether or not you can dance in the rain." It's with great honor I introduce to you Richard Phillips.
First of all, I would like to thank Bernie Jennings and Kathy Nevin for inviting me here today to speak to you all. Along with their team, Christy Mitchell, Alon Vanterpool, and Scott Carpenter, y'all have been made me to feel like an honorary Greensboro, North Carolina citizen and a member of the Biscuitville team. But for now, what I'm going to try to do is share my story with you so that you could get an idea of what my life has been like and what I've had to go through as a human being. I was convicted of murder in the first degree in 1972. I entered prison and I was such a torn individual because my life had been destroyed. I was convicted of a murder that I had not done. I had been stripped of my life, my liberty. I had been taken away from my children, my wife, my job. Everything was lost. I was arrested and convicted of murder, armed robbery, and crimes that I did not have anything to do with. But yet and still, I had to endure the pain and the separation of my life and all that I had lived and actually learned to absorb in terms of me getting my life together. So what I would like to do is explain to you exactly how it happened. In 1971, I was hanging with some guys that were friends of mine that I had known from childhood. And they actually were crimes that they had committed. They had went out and robbed some stores, and I was hanging with them at that time. And I didn't get involved in that robbery and in that kind of activities because that was something that I did not do. I had a job. I was working at Chrysler's. I had 2 kids, but I still kept these childhood friends. And hanging with them was one of the things that probably was the worst thing that I could have ever done, because they say that birds of a feather flock together and people are judged by the company that they keep. And it was wrong of me to keep the company of people that were not doing the right things in life. And that was my fault, part of my fault anyway. And so being in the wrong place at the wrong time is what got me involved in a prison experience that I would not actually love for my worst enemy to actually have to endure. I went to trial and I didn't have anybody that was supporting me. I had a what they call a appointed attorney that I didn't actually know. He didn't say over 2 words or in my defense. They let another attorney. I had a co-defendant. He also was convicted of a crime that our childhood friend just said that we told him we killed someone. And that was the only evidence that they had at trial. And from there, they sent me to prison. And when I went to prison, I was an angry individual, very angry. I had had a childhood that was abusive. I had an abusive stepfather. I had to go through all types of pain and separation in my childhood. I've never had a hug from my mother. I was actually taken from my home in Alabama and sent to Michigan in order to live with a family of that I didn't even know. And from there, I kind of shut down as a child. I went through all types of emotional problems, living in an attic with rats and roaches for the first 13 years of my life. And those traumas is probably what set me up for the failure that I've actually had to endure. But I tried to get my life in order. I tried to get away from the street crowd, get me a job. I had 2 kids when they finally arrested me and charged me with a murder that I didn't do and sent me to prison. So when I went to prison, I was very angry. I was angry at everybody, the system. Everybody had failed me. I felt that everybody had failed me. Here I am, an American citizen, a Black American citizen at that, but it shouldn't make a difference. My rights and my liberty should be just as accepted as anybody else's. I have a right to live and have my future and my hopes and my dreams fulfilled just like anybody else. But that was taken away from me, and I've had to endure that pain. I've had to go through all types of emotional problems and all types of losses in terms of my family. So when I went to prison, I was angry. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to live, really. I wanted to really just die. But I refused to kill myself. I refused to accept the fact that I was going to be there for the rest of my life. So what I did, I just started expressing myself in terms of poetry. I started writing poetry just to express myself and vent. I wanted to get a lot of emotions out. So I wrote about, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 poems. And then I realized that my educational background wasn't that good. So my writing wasn't that good. And in order to make my writing better, I would have to probably go to school and learn some education. I had dropped out of school and wanted to run the streets in the 10th grade, which is probably the dumbest thing that I've ever had to do, was drop out of school. From there, that's probably where I went down in life. But I started to actually try to make some changes in my life because I know that if I make some changes in my life, maybe my life will change. Maybe it will get better. Maybe some good things will start happening for me. And so what I did, I signed up for a GED. And after I signed up for the GED, I was already fairly well read. I had read books when I was a child. I read The Grapes of Wrath when I was 10 years old. My mother used to put books under my bed, and I would read them. All types of books, carpetbaggers, you name it, classics. I would read them. She was a maid, and she worked for a doctor, and he would give her books, and she would take them home and put them under my bed. She probably didn't even know I was reading, but I was reading them. I was never a dumb child. I was probably just restless and torn and traumatized by the fact that my life was so terrible. I could wake up in the morning and get ready to eat a bowl of Cheerios, and there would be rat feces in it. This was the kind of childhood that I endured. The kind of childhood where you sleep in the attic until you're 13 years old. And so I had to endure all of that. So when I get to prison, I said, well, I need to make some changes. And education was the one thing that I felt like I could do to improve myself. And so I took a GED class. It took me about 6 months. For one thing, they said, well, Mr. Phillips, you don't really need to take the reading test because your English is very good. You can write just as good as anybody. I didn't feel as though I could, which is one of the reasons I enrolled in school. But I ended up passing the GED test with honors. And so the lady, the counselor suggested that I take some college classes. I said, well, I didn't think I was ever good enough to go to college. I've always underestimated myself, which was wrong. Probably I should never have underestimated myself. I'm just as capable of doing anything that anybody else can do if I put my mind to it. It's the same mindset that everyone should have. There's nothing that you can't do if you put your mind to it. And being resilient is one of the most important things that you can ever do in life. Being resilient can save you your life at certain times, no matter what you're faced with, if you're strong enough to endure it, you can make it through. And so after I signed up for the college classes, I ended up actually going to college up until the early 90s, probably. And then I actually graduated from college. I had an associate's degree in business. And from there, I didn't have anything else to do. So I decided I knew how to draw. I've always been able to draw ever since I was a child. I could draw just as good as any artist that I've ever seen in magazines or books. I used to reproduce the Mona Lisa at 9 years old. I was the only class in school that I would actually get good grades in was art. Everything else was probably non-existent, and I wouldn't really want to speak on, but art was the one class that I actually got an A in and perfect attendance. My mother made sure that I went to school until a certain point got enlightened and I wanted to do what I wanted to do. But after I took up the art, it kind of took me away from the pain of being locked up for, at that time, probably about 15, 20 years. And I just couldn't stand it anymore in terms of the mental aspect that was affecting me. So I needed a distraction. And what I did, I actually started to paint and draw. I started to draw. And at the time that I started drawing, I said to myself that in order to make these drawings look really alive and really brilliant, that I should probably learn how to apply color. So I ordered an acrylic set out of Dick Blick or some organization that was selling art material in prison at that time. And the order form came back with a watercolor set. I don't know how it happened. Maybe I might have written the wrong number down, or maybe they have made the mistake. I don't know. But as fate would have it, a watercolor set came, and I did not have any idea on how to apply watercolor. Watercolor, if you ask any artist, he'll tell you, is the most difficult medium to paint in. You can't make mistakes with watercolor. You make a mistake, and if the color shows through, it will show. So you have to be pretty much of a perfectionist in order to work with watercolor. So I started working with it. I didn't know how to do it. I put it down for a week or two. I pick it back up. I put it back down because I wasn't applying it right. And sooner or later, the thought came to me that watercolor, the word water was significant. And so I actually got me a glass of water and a brush and started putting it in water. And sooner or later, things started to appear a little better than what it was before. And from there, I just began to apply color to the drawing mentality that God had already instilled in me since a child. And so now my watercolors seem to become a little more vibrant. I didn't like the old style watercolors that were just bland and light and washes. I like things to be lively and vibrant, that makes people feel and makes you reach into the core of your being so that when you see something, you actually feel it. And this is one of the reasons why I developed a colorful actual painting for Biscuitville, but I'll explain that to you a little later on. But for now, as I said, that I went to prison, I started painting. And so the painting actually kept me going up until probably around 20, maybe 20, 30 years. I just kept going and kept fighting. I refused to believe that I was going to die in prison. But the years kept going. The years kept falling off. I kept getting older. More and more would come. I would fight every year. I would file appeals. I would file briefs. I would go to the law library. I would read more laws. I would file more appeals. I would get denied every time. I would get denied at every turn. I would still continue to fight. And so at some point I said, well, I'm going to have to turn this over to God because it's a little bit too much for me. And I began to go into church. I started getting some spirituality. I started praying. I started asking God to help me out because I needed a miracle. And in 2009, they sent me a notice for commutation. And I think I had done about 39 years at that time. And I said, finally, they're going to let me go. Finally. Because they actually came to me with the commutation papers. I had pretty much given up. I kept believing that I would go free. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I had almost given up. And when the commutation came and I went to the commutation board and I told them I didn't have any involvement in this murder at all, they didn't believe me. They thought that I was lying. In order to go home, they must believe you. In order for them to release you, this is something that is pretty much written in stone. They have to actually believe, and you must convince them that you were not involved in this crime. And so obviously I think Jennifer Granholm was in office at that time, and my commutation was denied. I was crushed again. When I got back to my cell, probably that evening, they had sent me another notice saying, we'll talk to you again in 5 years. It almost broke me. But yet and still, I sucked it up. I kept going. I said, I refuse to die in this place. I just refused. I would say I didn't know what I was going to have to do next, but for the next thing I know, my co-defendant, someone that was accused along with me with this murder, my co-defendant had a commutation as well. And he told the parole board that I had nothing to do with that murder and that him and another man named Fred Mitchell had killed the deceased. He explained how it had been done. He explained where they did it and that I was nowhere in the vicinity. I didn't have anything to do with it. And in fact, he did not even know me at the time of the murder. So that alone inspired someone in that audience to contact the Innocence Project at the University of Michigan. And these people did some investigations. They hired a retired sergeant from the police department to take a polygraph test. They wanted to make sure that if they were going to represent me in court and try to seek my innocence and get me back to court, that they wanted to make sure that they believed me as well. And so they had a guy to come to me and gave me a polygraph test. It took about 3 hours. He says I passed it with flying colors. And so he believed me. This was an ex-police officer. And so when he took that information back to the Innocence Clinic, they actually believed me and started fighting for me. Someone had actually contacted them and told them that I was innocent and that I was in prison. And before long, I was in Wayne County Court, and they was actually giving me a new trial and saying that I was going to actually have another chance to prove my innocence. As fate would have it, and God showed his light and blessed me, in 2018, the charges were dropped after the Conviction Integrity Unit did their investigation and realizing that it was impossible for me to have committed that crime. They actually let me go in I think it was March 28, 2018. And one of the blessing things that happened about all the art that I created while I was in prison, I'd done about 400 paintings, all watercolor. Maybe some of you have seen some. I've been online. I've got an online site. My art has been shown all over the world. I had one showing, gallery showing in Ferndale. Associated Press picked it up. CNN picked it up. And the fact that I am the longest serving exoneree in the history of the United States, spending 16,900 days in prison for something that I didn't do, that kind of halfway opened the eyes up of a lot of people all over the world. And so now people all over the world know who I am. From Israel to Honolulu to Australia to Japan, you name it. I get texts and messages from all over the world. My prints are bought all over the world. My originals are purchased, are very expensive. And all this through the blessings of God, because I was resilient enough to have the faith that I would one day be free, and that I refused to be the same person that I went into prison and come out differently. I wanted to be someone that I could actually be able to sit down with a person of decent respect and have a conversation and be able to speak to them and talk to them like any other human being. And so I've actually had to try to better myself from the inside in order to change, in order to make the good things start happening for me. I had to change from within. I had to get my education. I had to learn to forgive. I had an interview with Cynthia Canny on what was it, NPR radio. And she asked me, she said, well, how do you feel about the man that put you in prison for something you didn't do? I told her, and I actually believed in my heart that what he did was a survival technique. In life, the strongest survive. And people actually will send you down a mountain before they send themselves down a mountain. So I understood what he did. So wasn't really that angry at him. I was angry at what he did, but not why he did it, because I knew he was trying to save himself. And so I forgave the man. God bless him, no matter what happened to him. I think last I heard that he had probably died. He probably drunk himself to death at 40 years old, from what I understand. And so God took care of him. I didn't have to do anything to the man, ever. Although I had hated his guts at one point. I had to change. I had to forgive. In order to move on, in order to have a better life for myself, I realized that hatred would only hold me back. The only thing that I can do now is share the love that I have for humanity and other people, and try to help and inspire other people with my story. That if you have revenge in your heart, you'll never be able to move forward. And so you have to learn to forgive. You have to learn how to move along in life, because as I said before, and as Kathy told you, you're going to have a lot of storms in your life. And so if you can't dance in the rain, you're not going to be able to make it. That's just the fact of life. And so I've actually had to endure all of that, and I'm still here. God has blessed me with a long life, and I'm just trying to be happy and enjoy life. And pretty soon, life is going to be even more happier, because I'm going to someday come down to Biscuitville and have me some biscuits and enjoy the restaurant and the hospitality of North Carolina. I have created a piece of art that I'd also like to share with you. I don't know how I'm going to show it to you, but I've created a piece of art that deals with Biscuitville, because Biscuitville kind of opened my eyes up to the fact that a franchise can be all encompassing, expressive in the way their views are in terms of Black Lives Matter, in terms of how we're treating one another nowadays. And that impressed me so much that I was such a fan now of Biscuitville, that I'm glad to be a part of your team, and possibly one of these days, one of your customers. Can I show this picture here? I'd like to, at least I'll hold this picture up here, just so that some of you can get an idea of what I did. You're probably not going to get an idea, but as you can see back here in the background, I even have the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, which separates this painting from any other painting in any other state, because no state has the Blue Ridge Mountain but North Carolina. And here, down here in the bottom, you see all these people here. Every one of these colorful individuals signify a race. Mexicans, Asians, Black, Indian, Caucasian, you name it. Even I've even got a green individual here in case a Martian want to come down from Mars and have a biscuit or two. And this is just a feeling that I just got a warm feeling from this inspiration that once I did my research on Biscuitville, this is what kind of came out of my heart and made me feel comfortable, and knowing that I could create something that makes me a part of the Biscuitville franchise. But when I get a chance to send it to you, I'll be sending it along pretty soon. I'm not quite ready to send it yet, but it'll be coming your way pretty soon. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for having me here, and I'll be turning it back over to Kathy here.
I'm not exactly sure how we even express our gratitude for Richard and his willingness to share his story with us today. I discovered Richard's story during the onset of COVID, and his story made me recognize how much I have to be grateful for. His story, his humility and capacity to forgive, and to see the forgiveness available in the world, and spending 46 years of his life incarcerated as an innocent man, Richard blazed a trail. I am so honored to have Richard with us today and hope he inspires you the way he inspired me to recognize how much I and we have to be grateful for, and our never-ending capacity to forgive one another. Our purpose statement is enhancing lives by serving others. Thank you, Richard, for enhancing our lives and for your service to others as you share your story and blaze trails that unite us through the values that we share at Biscuitville: character, passion, integrity, accountability, authenticity, and most importantly for us, gratefulness for life's blessings. I want to thank all of you for your time today and for your dedication to Biscuitville. And as Jeff said, we have great things ahead of us. And I'm so honored to start this year with each and every one of you. Maurice Jennings, our founder, dreamed about building a brand that served the best breakfast in our communities, but most importantly, he did it leading with the golden rule. As we close, I would like to honor Maurice Jennings, our founder, with a moment of silence. McKinley Greer, our customer analytics specialist, will then send us off with a word of prayer. So with that, please join me now as we close out the day together with a moment of silence.
Let us pray. God of all grace, love, mercy, compassion, unity, author of the Me First movement. God, you put on flesh and moved into the neighborhood. Thank you for showing us, for modeling the way, for us to be the change. God, you came to this earth. You loved people. You sacrificed. When injustice reared its ugly head, God, you stood against it. God, you have given us these gifts. You've given us talent. You've placed inside us everything that this world needs to change, to be the people that you call us to be. God, my prayer is that we remember today just who and whose we are, just why we were put here on this earth, not for our own selfish means, God, but to serve you and to serve one another well. God, lift us up in this moment. Plant the seed inside of our hearts, and may it flourish as we take steps from every place that we are today into the world. As we encounter people, God, let us smile even from behind the mask. Smile with our eyes, with our hearts, with our love. Let us hold doors open for one another. Let us give our seats to those who need it. God, we don't want to be the kind of people that serve others for selfish means. We want to be the kind of people that serve others to bring honor and glory to you. God, may we be those people. And may we bring you glory. In Jesus' name, amen. We want to thank you for being here today. We are so honored that we get to get up every day and to serve you. And this is just one of the ways that we wanted to be with you, to hopefully
Bring something that will give you a word, a seed, that will give you a nugget to take away with you. Even if it's not today, when you get up tomorrow, may you be reminded of who you are and whose you are and just how loved you are by us and by God. May you take that with you into the world so that we may all be me first in being the change. This concludes our time with you today. Go forth and be the change. Thank you.